So you're moving to Northern Virginia and you want the whole process to be as easy and smooth as possible. Well, in this week's video, I'm going to share with you the top 7 mistakes that you must avoid when moving to Northern Virginia. And make sure you watch this video all the way to the end, because avoiding this last mistake will save you the most amount of time, hassle, and pain when moving to Northern Virginia. So sit back, relax, because we're getting started right now. Boom! Hey everybody, it's David, your favorite realtor, and welcome back to another video. So because of this YouTube channel, I've helped so many families and individuals relocate to Northern Virginia these past few years, and some have made the move here way smoother than others. And I know moving, especially to another state, can be very stressful and cause a lot of anxiety. So avoiding these mistakes will make your relocation process that much easier. So let's get it started right now with the first mistake that you must avoid when moving to Northern Virginia, with not hiring professional movers. So I've seen this scenario way too many times with people relocating here. First, they'll rent a U-Haul truck, pack it themselves, drive cross country to their new home in Virginia, and then unpack it themselves. Do not do that. Yes, you'll save some money, but unless you're 21 years old, you're gonna throw your back out. The last time I tried to do all the moving myself, I was 28 years old, and I was moving from one townhouse to another townhouse only a couple towns away, and after the move, I felt terrible. My knees were hurting, my back was hurting, and I told myself I would literally never do this ever again. And this was only a couple towns away. And I couldn't even imagine doing this at my current age of 41 and from 8 states away. So if you're older than 25 years old, there's no reason why you should not hire professional movers, especially for a cross-country move. So I recommend getting at least 3 quotes from different moving companies, plus read their Google reviews and make sure they specialize in cross-country moving. Because some moving companies for cross-country moves, they'll just outsource it to another company that you didn't even hire in the first place. So if you're relocating to Northern Virginia from anywhere on the East Coast and you're looking for a great recommendation for a moving company, reach out to me, because I know some great moving companies that specialize in long-distance East Coast moving. So yes, this is not the time to do it yourself. Hire professional movers. It'll make your move to Northern Virginia so much easier. The next mistake that you must avoid is not coming here for a scouting trip. So this is hands down my biggest recommendation to people relocating to Northern Virginia is come here on a scouting trip, especially if you're not familiar with the area. So minimum, you want to come for a long weekend, but the longer the better. And when you're here, you can drive around the area, you can check out neighborhoods and towns that you've been eyeing. You can see where the closest schools are, where the closest town centers are. Also, try to interact with as many people as possible. For example, when you go out to eat at a restaurant, talk to the waiters, talk to the bartenders, talk to the managers, and ask them what they think about living in an area. And you're gonna get a lot of inside information doing this. Now, all of this will help pinpoint areas that you really like, but more importantly, areas you don't like. So you're not gonna learn everything about Northern Virginia in one long weekend, but you will learn a lot more about the area during your scouting trip compared to months of research online. Because the last thing you wanna do is relocate here cross country to a house you hate, a neighborhood you hate, a town you hate, or even worse, find out that Northern Virginia is just not for you. But all of this could have been avoided had you come here for a scouting trip in advance. And you can never live too far away to come here for a scouting trip. Last year I had a family who was relocating from Hawaii. Well, they came here for 9 days. And before they came here, there was one town in particular that they were eyeing. But when they got to see this town in person, they realized that they had no desire to live there. They ended up pivoting to another part of Northern Virginia. But had they never come here for the scouting trip, they potentially could have lived in a town that they would have regretted moving to. So yes, come here for that scouting trip in advance. This will make you move to Northern Virginia so much easier. Now, the next mistake that you must avoid is not being prepared for Northern Virginia's high cost of living. So Northern Virginia is one of the most expensive areas in the country. It's actually the biggest con to living in this area. So chances are the cost of living here is gonna be way higher compared to where you're coming from, unless you're coming from like New York or California. So you're most likely moving to the area for a new job opportunity with what I assume is a higher salary. So you have to make sure that your new higher salary is gonna be enough to cover our higher cost of living. Because the last thing you want to do is relocate here from another state and your quality of life goes down. Just does not make sense. So when I'm talking about higher cost of living, the majority of the higher cost has to do with housing, and that's whether you're renting or buying. So what I recommend is watching a video I created a few months ago where I do a full breakdown of the cost of living here in Northern Virginia. where I go over housing, taxes, childcare, and more. So this will definitely help prepare you for the high cost of living here in Northern Virginia. And I'll leave a link to that video in the description, so definitely go check it out. Next on the list is not being open to townhomes. So when someone reaches out to me and they say, hey David, I'm moving to Northern Virginia, well, one of the questions I ask during the process is, what style of home are you looking for? 9 times out of 10, they say, David, I want a single family home. And I usually follow that up with, are you open to townhomes? And they usually respond this way, no way, no how do I want to live in a townhouse, David. Townhomes are small, they're usually in less desirable communities, but that is not the case here in Northern Virginia. We have a lot of great, beautiful townhomes all throughout the area and in A+ neighborhoods. So we have way less single family homes here in the area. In fact, 50% of all the homes are going to be condos or townhomes. So what this does, it puts a huge premium on the price of a single family home. In fact, the average sales price of a single family home in all of Northern Virginia comes out to $976,000. And a great alternative to a single family home is going to be the luxury townhouse. And these townhomes are going to feature 4 bedrooms, 4 bath, 3,000 square feet, which is literally the same size of a single family home, open floor plan, rooftop terraces, and all built within the past 5 to 10 years. And the big bonus is, most times these luxury townhomes will cost less than the average sales price of a single family home. So I'm not saying you have to settle on a townhouse. I'm just saying be open to the possibility of a townhouse, especially if you want to get the most value for your dollar. Next on the list is making sure you're moving here for the right reason. I've seen it so many times. People will relocate here for a higher salary, but without considering all the other factors. Now, a great question to ask yourself is, will this move to Northern Virginia be worth what you're leaving behind? Because the grass is not always greener. First, you'll be leaving your friends, maybe family, and then your kiddos, they'll be leaving their friends in schools they absolutely love. So make sure you're moving here for a better quality of life with things that are important to you. Maybe that's career opportunities, highly rated schools, cultural diversity, whatever the reason is, just make sure it makes sense. And Northern Virginia is a very unique area, and I've helped a lot of people relocate here, but they end up leaving 1 or 2 years later just because it was not a good fit for them. And I remember when I relocated to the area back in the year 2000 from Jacksonville, Florida, the first few years I lived here, it was not for me at all. I was this close to moving back to Florida. Now I did end up sticking it out, and I'm very glad that I did because I believe Northern Virginia is one of the best places to live in the whole country. So really consider what you'll be leaving behind and make sure you move to Northern Virginia for the right reason. Now the next mistake that you must avoid is not considering renting first. So I am in real estate, so obviously I'm a big believer of owning versus renting, especially long term. But there are exceptions to the rule where renting makes more sense than buying. And one of those is relocating to a new area. Like me personally, if I had to pack up and move to, let's say, Dallas, Texas in the next few months, I would personally rent there first because I don't know that area at all, so I'd rather rent for a year to learn the lay of the land. So whether you're gonna do a short-term lease like 3 to 6 months or a long-term lease like 12 to 18 months, there's nothing wrong with renting first. So when you're living in your rental here in Northern Virginia for 12 months, but then you can really take your time, learn the area, find the communities and neighborhoods that you really wanna live and buy a home in. Because the last thing you want to do is be rushed into buying a home in an area that you just do not like and end up having to sell 1 year later and potentially losing money. Now, avoiding this next mistake is the most important on this list. This will save you the most amount of time, hassle, and pain, and that's going to be not reaching out to me sooner. Even if you're 1 year away from moving to Northern Virginia, what we're gonna do, we're gonna jump on a Zoom call. We're gonna talk about your goals, your time frame, what's important for you, what you're looking for in an area and home to live in, and we're gonna come up with a step-by-step game plan to make your relocation to the area as easy as possible. Because the last thing you wanna do is relocate to this area with no plan in place. This is not the time to just be winging it. Reach out to me, use my expertise. I have this relocation process down pat. And this, I promise you, I'll help make your move to Northern Virginia so much easier. And if you want to continue your research on moving to Northern Virginia, check out this video right here. I do a full breakdown of the cost of living, housing, taxes, childcare, and more. You're absolutely gonna love it. And I'll see you on the next video.